everyone, I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Brandon. And we're the
Wagners. We're a husband-wife duo who travel all around the country since 2021 for Brandon's travel nursing job.
We love hiking, car camping, new cities, and of course, the best food and drink. Along with adventure, we always look for ways to keep our travel budget-friendly.
So pack your bags and join us as we wander together. Hey Wanderers, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to Northern California. We have been using San Francisco as a point of reference for where we live in Santa Rosa, so it only makes sense that today we show you around the city by the bay. So put on your walking shoes and let's get started. So our first stop is actually going to be right before we cross into the city and the county line of San Francisco at Marin Headlands. This is just an awesome viewpoint of the Golden Gate Bridge and the cityscape in the background. This is a totally free stop as you're just driving up a hill and there are various small lots for you to get out and take a picture. Despite the awesome views, make sure your driver is still paying attention to their road, as I have seen many people way more adventurous than myself bike up or down this great hill with little to no bike lane or shoulder. Also, we haven't done too much yet, but I'm told there are great hikes in this area as well. However, still be on a lookout because one time Brandon and I actually saw a bobcat from our car just hanging out. So if you do see one while hiking, try to scare it by yelling or clapping or spraying water or backing away slowly and purposefully, but do not try to approach it or pass it without scaring it out of your way. Anyway, there are many different levels and stopping points at Marin Headlands, so don't get too caught up just looking at the bridge. Look at the sharp cliffs and the natural beauty of the area as well. Fair word of warning though, if you do want to do this activity, make sure you do it on a clear day. Luckily we had the chance to go back after living in this area, but the first time we stopped by the Golden Gate Bridge on our California road trip, it was super foggy and we could barely see the bridge. So pro tip, if you're going at sunrise or sunset, you will get extra amazing pictures and views. So I guess the next logical activity would be to walk the Golden Gate Bridge, which I'm sure is really fun, but I actually haven't done it yet because I always just drive into the city. But the freest bridge to walk or bike on, and it is $9.40 to drive on, but only into the city. So if you drive into the city a lot, you may want to consider getting a fast track toll tag, which saves you $1 on each toll. But if you don't have the pass, never fear, you can always pay online before or after crossing, or just wait for the toll in the mail. But don't wait too long to pay it because after 21 days you will get additional fees. But either way, there's no stopping at the Golden Gate Bridge, so just continue on, and I'll link where you can pay and some more of the information in the comments below. Next we went to Dolores Park, which is relatively small but it's really cute nonetheless. Probably the most notable feature here about this park and many others that you'll see during your visit is the incline of the hill that the park and the city are on. These hills are certainly no joke and definitely very iconic of the San Francisco area, and this isn't the only place we'll be talking about the hills though. But one thing to be aware of in Northern California is the waste situation. So here in Northern California, as well as most of the PNW, we do composting. That's a pretty big thing here in addition to recycling. So you'll see that there are 3 options for your trash. There's your regular waste, recycling, and composting for the vast majority of the public waste bins. So please make sure to read what you can put in each one before you do to make sure you're doing it correctly. San Francisco has a pretty big littering problem, so please be part of the solution and not the problem, and recycle properly. So one thing that's really fun to do in San Francisco is to just simply look around at the overall style of the city and the architecture. You'll notice there's a pretty distinct look right away with these tall, colorful, and usually bumped out apartments and buildings. If you want a classic example of these homes, check out the Painted Ladies. Here's just where some famous San Francisco homes are. I learned that they're actually a status of wealth from the gold rush when all the money was flooding into the Bay Area, and these owners were excited to show off their wealth using many windows, turrets, and decorated roof lines. If you're starting to get pretty hungry, another famous spot in San Francisco is Chinatown. We didn't spend too long in this area, but we did go to a great restaurant called the House of Nanking. The food was so different from other Chinese food I've had, and it was absolutely delicious, and I couldn't believe the prices either. Especially for San Francisco, we spent $30 for both of our meals, so like that was an amazing surprise. Also, this place wasn't Chinese, but we stopped at the cutest ice cream and cookie sandwich place, which is literally my favorite dessert. So I super enjoyed this stop, and if you are like me, you'll want to check this out too. Alright, so we haven't experienced nearly enough hills yet, so while we're at it, why don't we just go to the curviest street in the world? Lombard Street in San Francisco is world famous for having 8 hairpin curves in only about 600 feet, or if it were straight, it would only be 412 feet. It's a one-way downhill street, and people actually live on the street, so you can walk or drive on it for free, and there's free parking nearby. Also, for all these attractions I mentioned before, there's no special parking situation, so just whatever you can find on the streets or in lots. We were able to find street parking quite a bit, but just make sure you read those signs carefully so you don't get ticketed or towed. Also, we didn't use it, but you can always ride the iconic trolleys if you don't feel like driving or braving these hills and get a good, or if you get a good parking spot, the trolleys will be good to use. Okay, the last stop we're headed to is Pier 39 and Fisherman's Wharf. So this is like the main touristy hub with a lot of fun attractions like Madame Tussauds, food, shopping, all that good regular stuff that you'll see at any major city or vacation spot. So Fisherman's Wharf heads down the street, and Pier 39 is obviously a pier that goes out over the water. So parking for this area is a little more expensive, so there are just lots and street parking, but you may need to do a couple of loops to find the best spot, as again, this is super touristy. So we heard that one of the best foods in San Francisco is sourdough bread, and that we should get a bread bowl of clam chowder at Boudin's. So I felt silly because we went to this like tiny Boudin shop on Pier 39, and then we walked on Fisherman's Wharf and we saw a huge Boudin factory. So maybe you should just check that out over the pier. But anyway, any of the food in this main hub is going to be a little more pricey just because, you know, it is those touristy prices. And it is okay. Maybe I'm just losing my taste for chowder, but I feel like I've just been a little unimpressed with the chowders I've had lately. But anyway, this is of course just like the boardwalk on the beach. So if you're visiting a city, you should at least check it out once. I did really enjoy Trisha's Mini Donuts and the Lotus Biscoff coffee stand, and I of course got the cookie butter latte, which was delicious. So if you're tired of all the shops and hustle and bustle, you can always take a breather by the water and watch the sea lions hang out right on the pier. And of course, another famous thing you can do in San Francisco is visit Alcatraz, which you can see off in the distance, and you can learn more about it on another video I posted last week to help you plan your visit. So last thing, just some general information before I sign off. I wanted to give you guys a fair word of warning about some safety measures. So I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about the issues of San Francisco being polluted, dangerous, with high population of unhoused people. These are all true, and I'm told San Francisco has significantly gone downhill. So there's still fun things to do, but just like any city, you just want to make sure that you're paying attention to your surroundings. So the main thing I want you to be aware of is if you're driving something that has become increasingly popular if you're driving is smash and grab, which is exactly what it sounds like. People will smash your window and steal whatever is in your car that they can grab. So before coming into the city, if you're driving, I would definitely try to empty out your car as much as possible so people can see that there's nothing worthwhile in there. Take your valuables with you or leave them at home, or at least hide them if possible. But honestly, it's better to just kind of have on display that there's nothing in your car than having things being hidden. So also for me, this looks like taking some extra money for parking garages rather than parking on the street. But honestly, as long as you take the proper precautions and are mindful of your surroundings, you should be just fine. And then one last just fun thing, make sure you're on the lookout for driverless cars. This is being test piloted in San Francisco. You can actually get free taxis that are completely driverless. So you'll see them around the city. They tend to have like kind of like lights on the top and like gear, and I think it's Zoox is the brand who does them. But if you see cars driving around with no drivers, that is a very San Francisco thing, and you can actually take a taxi ride in one for free, so you should check that out. Anyway, that wraps it up, and I hope you guys found this video helpful. Please let me know in the comments what other places I missed. So far, we've only done a few day trips to San Francisco, so let us know if you have any other recommendations for us to check out. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!